What is going on, Colts Nation? He is Jamal, and I am Eric, your co-host of the Colts Cast.
Yo,
Another AFC South showdown is upon the Indianapolis Colts as they head to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Our team is coming off a frustrating loss, while the other team is coming off a fresh bye. Let's get right into it, Jamal. Where would you like to start?
I'll like to start with the fact that the Colts, Dallas Flowers, I guess I should say not Colts. He's now a free agent, unfortunately for him. But it was crazy to me that even in a bye week, when the Colts players made a meme or a former Colt player made a meme, people were still dogging Will Levis all over Twitter. They were they were like, "Yo, this is Will Levis," even on his bye week. I'm like, "Dang, my man can't even he's still getting smoked on a bye week." Disrespectful people. I'm gonna let y'all know I ain't talking silly
Levis.
like that about any players, but it just blew my mind to see that one of our players is a meme and that people are still comparing it to Will Levis. So that's how I want to start the show today. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and let us know that you're here and let us know how you feel about what's going on around the league right now. Talk to him, Eric. What's going on, man?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest questions right now is, so for the Titans game, is Anthony Richardson going to step on the field or not? It looks like as of Thursday, he's practicing fully. We expect to see our starting quarterback back on the field. He was practicing in limited fashion last week, or not even at all. But I'd love to see him out there in this crucial divisional matchup. I know with how well Joe Flacco's been playing, but I I got a lot of hate last episode for saying Joe Flacco could have played better. And I don't know if everyone was watching the same game, but there were some, you could just tell that having Richardson in the game is completely different. That's just my opinion, though. You don't have to agree. I'm not saying Flacco lost us the game last game, but I wasn't going to say he won it for us either. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, what do we do right here? So if Richardson's not 100%, we have to sit him, or do we start him?
I guess it depends on if we for sure. I'm okay either way. I don't want him to sit. Obviously, I want him to be out there playing. But am I gonna be throwing my remote at my TV because Flacco's starting? No, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Because I think that again, Flacco went out there and did what he needed to do. Of course, a lot of the mid-game play was pretty choppy and pretty sloppy. But I think that was just until they got comfortable throwing a deep ball, because he was just throwing checkdowns the entire middle portion of the game. After that first drive, it was check down until it actually mattered and he was trying to throw deep balls. But I also think that it matters at this point if Jonathan Taylor is going to be playing as well. I think right now he didn't practice, but he said the ankle as of today, as of Thursday, is feeling better. So I think that'll be a determining factor too, because I know that you mentioned that Flacco just wasn't really that it didn't look too hot when he was in there. But I think that if Jonathan Taylor's on the field, it's a different kind of respect that people have to use within the defensive scheme. So if Flacco were to start, I'm not mad. If Richardson, and that's only if Richardson for some reason just is not 100% ready to go. But I would like to see Richardson out there. Richardson already said, in another interview that he would be, if he needs to slide, get out of bounds, whatever the case is, that's what he'll be doing. So I think that he's ready to be back out there. I don't think that he ever wants to not be out there, but I also know that if for whatever reason the organization feels that he shouldn't be out there this very second, I'm not going to argue with it, because I do have confidence in Flacco more than I had in Minshew from last year.
Yeah, and I think people forget, because people were saying Joe Flacco threw for 350 plus yards, but he got I would say a good 150 out of that in the last two drives.
Yeah.
Right when you were saying, Jamal, right when we start throwing that deep ball, and it's to credit, it's to my boy Alec Pierce. And he was all over those last two drives. That's where he amassed all of his yards. Alec Pierce is the answer. I think this may be the key to victory. The glove is fitting the hand pretty perfectly right now. I think Alec Pierce is kind of what we drafted him for, yet he's fourth on the team in targets, yet he leads the league in yards per reception. When y'all going to give him more targets, Jamal?
Man, well, I guess when they transfer Michael Pittman contract over to him, I don't know. That's the only reason why they would give him more give him more targets.
Yeah. Yeah, Pittman might be hitting the IR, but I'm just saying, y'all spoke down on Alec Pierce. I remember.
Lost him, y'all. Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
y'all
That's
saying he was gonna lose his position to AD Mitchell,
yep.
and now he's making game-breaking plays almost every week to keep
Mm-hmm.
this team in the game and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes winning it. So he's sneaking fast, has the ability to win downfield, eats on contested catches. I mean, this is the guy we wanted to draft, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to put in there too. You know, they did say that this was his best camp ever. This is his best camp ever he's had. And I said I felt like finally with competition in the room, which again I know that maybe AD for what we see on the field, you know, what we see on the game day is not necessarily what we want, but during all training camp and all that stuff, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's that fight, that's that dog we need to help elevate this wide receiver room to make people step up and show out. And I don't know whether or not he truly made Pierce elevate his game, or if Pierce just had this in his bag and it just finally took to this year for him to get a chance to show it even more. But hey, listen, man, when the wide receiver room got a little heavier with great better players, somebody had to step up, and that's Pierce. So got to give him a shout outs.
Hey, I mean, he's only 3rd year in the league in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL. I used to I used to give wide receivers about 3 years. Like that's when you see that point where it's like, all right, you're either gonna make it in the league or you're not. It looks like Alec Pierce is gonna make it. I mean, he's having a great season so far. He's doing numbers. He's basically hit his ceiling. Maybe it can get even better. And yet, I just feel like we're underutilizing him a lot,
Mm-hmm.
in some weeks. Yeah, he's probably not a wide receiver one, like a true one, but damn for sure he's a true weapon to this offense. Could be
100%.
that complement wide receiver two, that perfect pairing for a wide receiver one. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I see him, but he seems to maybe be the answer to us potentially winning. Get some
Mm-hmm.
more, whether you're throwing it downfield just to see if he can get it, draw a DPI, get us a 50-yard bomb. I want to see some shots to him every single game if it's there. If it's there.
Yeah, and if MPJ truly is going to be out, you know, for the foreseeable future, I do truly think that he will get more. I mean, Downs obviously is a hot commodity for us. We'll talk about him in a couple minutes, and I think that they'll still try to get some to Mitchell, but when in doubt, and I'm sure Ashton Doolin probably be in there getting a lot of reps as well. But when in doubt, I mean, Pierce is going to be there, and he's definitely earned the right to get more passes his way. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be a bomb. I mean, I think that Pierce is quick enough off the line that he can shake a little something and maybe even get 15, 20 yards behind or in front of the play and then get the ball. So we don't always have to drop a 55 yarder to him. So I definitely
Mhm.
see him integrated a lot more in this offense.
Yeah, that'll be great because I I don't want to lose to the Titans. We
No.
swept them last year. We own their ass. I mean, they are under Colts ownership. Where I mean, I expect more of the same this year. We've retained essentially the same personnel that swept the Titans. We know what they can and cannot do. You've already talked about it. Will Levis mean? They've added a little bit of talent in the offseason.
Hmm.
Hasn't really mattered. What are they, a one-win team? And I'm
Man,
I'm
talking
not
greasy.
I'm not even
Wow.
trying to shit on that. Like I'm just speaking straight facts. Like for all you Titans fans, I don't look. Will Levis is on track to play, and that's amazing for this Colts defense. I mean, this this Christmas has come early because this man is turning the ball over at an extremely high rate.
He is.
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, he is going to gift wrap us at least one fumble loss, and one interception. At least if he's really on his Will Levis status, that man, we give five we give 5 turnovers like off the rib, bro. Because that man hero ball to the max. Like he is not gonna let a play die. He is not gonna throw it out of bounds. He is not gonna take a sack. He is gonna chuck that ball somewhere or tuck it or do. I mean, we've seen it every week. Even his head coach came out and was just like, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's like, I've never seen a coach do that. But look, we just need to put pressure on Levis, something that was non-existent on Trevor Lawrence last week. Pretty sure we had the lowest pressure rate in a game ever since that stat was being recorded. I think Jacob Gibbs posted that the other day on X. It's just like we had our worst game and still only lost by 3 points against the Jags. I know the Jags are pretty, bottom of the food barrel team or food chain team, but I just think if we can get that pressure rate a little higher, if we can make Will Levis do Will Levis things, this is a get back game for this defense. I know we said that last week, but we also said Trevor Lawrence has this amazing stat line career split against the Indianapolis Colts. So that's where I think we have the edge, is that if Will Levis starts, we have the edge.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little more nice to the Titans fans than Eric, just because I don't want to eat my words, man. Listen, I've seen the Colts colt to the maximum, week in and week out. I've seen them find ways to just be like, nah, actually we don't want to win today. So we only got one more win than them, so I can't talk too greasy right now. Especially when we talk about the fact that we had 0 pressures, 0 sacks against Trevor Lawrence. Now, will I sit here and say that Will Levis, like you said, I mean, that is a gift wrap and a bow. I mean, I think he has 6 interceptions this year, something wild like that. I mean, it's just he's
along with 3 fumbles.
Yeah,
dude missed the game.
He is handing that out. Like I'm not arguing that at all.
He handed them out for free.
But I also just think that the Colts can find a way to play down to their opponent's level week in and week out. We're not a dominant team right now. We want to stay in contention with you, just to give everybody a ride. I know anyone can say, you're in the NFL, you're at the top level right now, so on and so forth. Every team has NFL quality players. That's true, but that doesn't mean that every team is as good as the next one. So I think the Colts should come out and dominate and really make this thing a get back game for real after what we saw last week, because the Jags game was just a joke. Obviously, we know the curse, whatever you want to call it. The Colts got outplayed. That's all it was. Colts showed that they weren't ready to be down there. As per usual, go to Jacksonville on your high horse, and you get
those missed tackles though. That looked like a curse. I ain't never seen that many missed tackles for this team.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it truly was a curse. Let's hope it was. But I do think that the game plan should be there for the Colts to win. Again, if the defense can just show up, defense shows up and does a little bit of something, capitalize on these mistakes, then sure, we're fine. We win the time of possession game, we'll win the game. If we can generate a couple turnovers, which should be freebies for us, we win the game. If everybody in offense can just stay on the field and just drive down the field, we can win the game. If we make field goals and extra points, we will win the game. So I think there are a lot of factors that go into the Colts winning the game. But I think that they all should come together, because if for whatever reason, if we go 0-3 in the division to start it off, like it's over. It's over. The conversation's done. So
that we can win the AFC South at that point.
We will not win the AFC South at that point.
Talking about our offense, so we might be without JT. We're probably without Pittman. We're probably without both of them. Anthony Richardson's probably going to play. We'll see how our run game shakes out and passing game and things like that. But I am worried. So I did talk about Will Levis a good bit, but the Titans defense has been pretty good this year. That would be one thing I'm worried about. They're number 1 in total yards allowed per game. They're number 2 in opponent third down conversion. So we could very well see a lot of 3 and outs. A, if JT and Pittman are out. B, even if Richardson's out, like our Joe Flacco being under center, that could be a little different for us. But I know there's a lot of Richardson haters right now. But say what you want about him, but this defense has to stay honest with him on the field. So it changes how the defense plays him. I know Flacco took off for a huge run last week. Matt Ryan did the same thing a few years ago. He had
hate Joe Flacco. This is crazy.
what do you know about?
My man, hate Joey Flacco. What they call him?
I said he took off for a huge run last week.
Yo, you was comparing him to Matt Ryan.
Look, Matt Ryan did
it one time.
Yeah, he did it a few years ago at his longest run with the Indianapolis Colts. But like every dog has his day, right? Dude, so it's just like
Flacco.
The defensive coordinator. But let's be honest, Jamal. Defensive coordinators are not in the team media room going, "How are we going to stop Joe Flacco's legs?" Nobody is game planning for that.
They didn't care about that 20-yard run.
They're doing that for Richardson, right?
Oh, 100%.
Who's probably the best quarterback playing right now? Maybe Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's got it in the passing and like them boys got it down packed. But these mobile quarterbacks, man, they add an element to the offense that Jaden Daniels, like, look at him.
Yeah, he's balling.
Look, yeah, with the command and like they were saying the Commanders are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, but we want to take advantage of the element of having a mobile quarterback. And Richardson, I mean, he's shown he can do it. It's just, can he limit the hits? Like, does he have to go in like a bowling ball into all them pins and, and get hit by every single? I just I hope he slides better, just avoids hits better. But I want to take full advantage of his rushing upside. So, you know, I can 100% in full confidence bet my life savings that nobody's game plan for that for Flacco. So it's a little different game plan once you get on that side of the room. I just think Richardson being in there, if he's on point, like we've seen him be on point, especially last season when he was healthy, we've seen him be on point. I always bring up the Rams comeback because I thought that was a really good comeback for a rookie quarterback who had 14 games under his belt at that point. Like, he led that offense back into an OT game. So if he can build on that and just build up some confidence, you talked about it, Jamal. Like, he looks good when his mechanics are right. Can we get that more consistent? But at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I don't hate Joe Flacco, but what does Joe Flacco do for us by starting him instead of Anthony Richardson? Who needs live reps?
Oh, Richardson needs live rep all day. That's
Exactly.
As long as he's healthy, I'm fine with that. He doesn't have to be 100%, but he has to be healthy.
Right. I agree too. I want him to be healthy. What is the ceiling with Joe Flacco in this offense? Is it mediocrity? Is it a first round bounce? What are we talking about here? So why would we pay Joe Flacco, or why would we start Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson? If that's the case, if Anthony Richardson's development is the most important part, why are we talking about starting Joe Flacco? Y'all let me know. Y'all answer that for me. I'm here all day. 25.
I think some people are still probably on the Joe Flacco train from last year or watching with the Browns, but I think we always have to remember
Got bounced in the playoffs.
Then the Browns are the number one defense too. So I mean, like, so
And
Joe
still got
Flacco
bounced in the playoffs.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that.
Like, that's what I'm talking about, man.
But people also, I mean, we're gonna say the same thing about, I don't know. It's hard because there's some decent quarterbacks who they all get bounced in the playoffs early on. They do. I think that people are just want to see a little consistency. I think that's the thing. They're afraid they're afraid to see someone like Richardson get hit and go down because then they just get a little PTSD kicking in from them or something. I don't know. I truly think, like I've said before, I mean, I've seen Lamar take 100 of crazy hits. I've seen Mahomes take 100 crazy hits. I've seen Josh Allen take 100 crazy hits. The biggest thing is this, guys. They do not give up their body. If they're gonna take a hit, they brace for impact, but they protect themselves. They don't just run in there as a statue, as a straight up pencil. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing that Richardson has done that doesn't is only hurt him. And I think that, but sometimes when you're as big as someone like him, again, I'm not 6'5", 250 pounds, so I don't know, but I would like to think that just over his entire life, probably being one of the bigger kids on the field, those hits don't really feel like much when you're that much bigger than people. But now we're in the league where people can deliver a blow, and you never really developed on like how to take a proper hit, then every hit matters because you're getting hit from 4 or 5 different angles every single time you get the ball, because they're trying to take your head off whenever they can get a free hit on you, and they're not going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
So they're going to do it. So I truly think that's the difference between these running quarterbacks who have been able to excel in the league right now versus Richardson, who's having these injury issues where he has to just understand, if you're going to go in there and take those hits, take the hits, because I want to see you out there. And I know that fans really want to see him out there too. No one wants to see Joe Flacco out there. But I think that people feel like if Flacco's out there, then there's a chance that he's not going to get injured, so they can like rest a little more. And I really think that's where people kind of come into the Flacco versus Richardson thing. But I don't think that anybody with a straight face can look at you dead in your eye and say, if we have both healthy for the entire season, I want to see Flacco out there. I just don't think that's true.
Well, we've seen it. You've read our comments in the pod.
Oh yeah, I mean,
a lot of people who want Flacco.
Yeah, I think people were saying the whole one game. If they see it again, like I would, because again, like you said earlier, First drive, last 2 drives. In between that, all that stuff was like wishy-washy. There was not a lot going on, but people can remember the first and the last portion because that's the first thing you saw and that was the last thing you saw. But everything in between, you kind of forget what happened. So I think that people saw that and they saw the electricity of a couple deep balls. The same thing we saw from Richardson in week 1 against the Texans when he hit Alec Pierce with 2 of those balls. So yes, so
Alec Pierce is the common denominator. That's all I'm
yes,
gonna say.
that's literally all I'm hearing too. That's you just find a way
Hey,
to get to Pierce.
Richardson ceiling, Joe Flacco ceiling. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, where are we trying to be? We trying to be mediocre? We trying to be really good? Talked about this last episode, Jamal.
Yep.
Man, but the Titans. This is. I feel like I say this every week. This is a get right game for the Colts.
That's why I'm not saying that because, like I said, the Colts gonna find a way to Colt, man. I don't have time for that. I'm gonna watch the game and enjoy it, and if we and when we win, I'll be like, hey, it was a great win. But if we lose, then I'm gonna be like, yo, the Colts is Colton.
Look, we can put together a great stretch of victories right here. We beat the Titans in Tennessee like we always do historically. We're always taking the Titans' head off because that's a freebie for us. And then we head back to Lucas Oil to take on the Miami Dolphins, who
that's an actual freebie.
Could very well be, but and then we see the Houston Texans. And then we start getting in a rough stretch because then we hit the Texans, Vikings, Bills, Jets. So it's up and down here, but if we want to get some momentum going into that Texans game, we go up. We go 2-0 in these next 2 weeks and just call it like it is, man.
Yeah, I agree. Last thing I want to say too, man. I just thought about this a second ago, and I just don't understand how Josh Downs got a 15-yard unsportsmanlike for a gesture that Mahomes and at least 15 other players do every single week. That's the last thing I want to say, man.
I always say this. Yeah, the refs had the Jags in the parlay. That was the most. I guess we didn't really talk about that, but that was the simplest taunt ever, and got on sportsmanlike conduct. I'm pretty sure like 2 drives later. I don't know which Jaguars. One Jaguars player did something, and they were like, "Yeah, that's fine." So
it kills me, man.
And
it's not even like they're pointing a gun. Like I understand what they're getting at, but they're literally pointing fingers saying it's a first down. I don't know what else you can do. Maybe do this. They may still consider that a gun. I don't know.
This is where I see where the people are like, "Oh, the NFL's rigged." Like this would be what this would be Exhibit A, because like literally on the next play or next drive for the Jaguars, I remember seeing a player do that, and I'm sitting there yelling at my TV, "Throw a flag, be consistent, refs!" But it's just it's never like that. So hey, it is what it is, right?
That's what it is. Yep, that's it.
That's it. Alec Pierce, the GOAT. That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We're live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. We'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. I'll take care.
Take it easy.